Hello, my friends. This video is for people who find meditation difficult. If you're one of those people who finds meditation difficult and frustrating at times, this video is for you. So, what I'd like to do is I would like to teach you a completely different method of meditation. This method is called the FIT method. F as in Frank, I, T. T as in Tom. So this method was taught to me many years ago by a friend of mine. I was in a Buddhist meditation group, and sitting with the group, it was pretty easy to meditate. But when I was home alone, it became very difficult to meditate, where I would just find that my brain would follow a thought, and it would be like I got on a train that I didn't want to get on, and it would just take me someplace I didn't want to go. And the next thing I know, I'm a million miles away from meditating. And this would happen over and over again. I was going through a really hard time, getting divorced. And as you know, when things happen that you don't expect to happen, it's kind of like the brain goes into chaos. It's just like, what is going on? And it tries to make sense by going nonstop. And I wasn't getting any peace. So she taught me this wonderful method, and I want to teach it to you today. So basically, this method is the FIT, F-I-T, stands for feel, image, and talk. Okay? So what you do is when you're sitting, you are observing your thoughts. So you're with your eyes closed typically, and you're sitting with your hands either like this, in your lap. Some people sit like this. Typically, what's most comfortable is to sit on a meditation cushion like this. It puts the spine erect. And we're going to be observing the thoughts in the head and labeling them either a feeling for feel, image, or talk. So if you're meditating and suddenly you get this feeling that either you're angry about something that happened yesterday, or you're hungry, or some other emotion, you would just say feel, and then push it to the side. Like literally in your mind's eye, just push it to the side. And then just go back to the breath, just keep breathing. And then sometimes, let's say, an image pops up in our mind. Something that happened yesterday, or a tree, your picture of your cat, somebody's face that you talk to, whatever happens, image, push it to the side. Then you might remember a conversation, or your brain might say something you have to do, or whatever. You would label it talk, and then just push it to the side. And you just keep doing this over and over and over again. So I found that the sweet spot is 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, the brain will finally calm down, stop talking so much, stop shooting all of these things. It will just start to relax because you're just disabling it. Each time it starts, you're just, okay, I see you, goodbye. I see you, goodbye. And so that's the first thing. And it will stop doing that. It will stop taking you on these long trips elsewhere. Another thing that I noticed by doing it is that my nervous system really calmed down because I took away the stimuli, took away, just all the thinking. So I started to relax a lot more. I noticed also that there was more space in my mind, meaning that in the silences that were created, I was able to hear guidance from my higher self, that inner voice that tells you what to do, what not to do. That's really important that we all get in contact with and stay in contact with. And if we're constantly distracted on technology, or doing, and we never take the time to just center ourselves and calm it all down, we miss that instinct, we miss that intuition that comes with that higher self's voice that speaks to you. So I noticed I could hear that a lot clearer. And I just felt that I was understanding my thought patterns better. So, for example, like after I might have been meditating, maybe I was cooking dinner and those same thoughts would pop up and I'd realize you just had that same thought 30 times while you were meditating and now it's coming up again. And because you start to see what you're thinking, you realize that the mind is just going to do what it's going to do and not to take it so seriously. And so you can drop those thoughts and not be, mesmerized by them, captured by them. And that is a huge relief. So you can do this technique even in the car when you're driving, and I do it while I'm doing my yoga. If I start to see my mind wander, I'll bring it back using this technique. So I'd like to do about 10 minutes with you now. And if you want a guided meditation that's 20 minutes, leave a comment, below, and I will make one for you. Otherwise, you can always just play this twice, or you can just, once you start to understand how to do it on your own, just set your own timer on your phone and practice the technique. But in the meantime, if you have a pillow, put it under your butt so that you're nice and straight like this. You want your spine to be straight, so there's no curve in this lower back. There's no curve in the neck, so you want to have your chin down. You want to always have your spine straight when you are meditating and not slump over like this. You always want to be straight. You want the energy to be going straight up to the top of your head, and that's very important. Okay, so now that we are settled comfortably on the pillow, put your hands however they're most comfortable and close our eyes and just concentrate on the breath. If you have a feeling, remember, label it, image, label it, talk, label it, okay? All right, let's settle in together. Remember, if an image pops into your mind, we just label it, image, push it to the side, and go back to the breath. If your brain starts talking about some conversation you might have had, some words you heard, something along those lines, label it talk and go back to the breath. If you notice a feeling come up, maybe it's tingling in the legs, maybe it's a pain in the back, maybe it's a feeling of anxiety, label it feeling, push it to the side in your mind's eye and go back to the breath. Pay attention to your spine. If you start to slump at all, just straighten back up again. If you get an image of something that you left on your desk, some sort of work you have to do, label it image, push it to the side of your mind's eye. All things can wait while we're meditating. Go back to the breath. If your mind starts telling you that you need to cook dinner for the children, label it talk, push it to the side, go back to the breath. It can wait. If you start to feel numbness in your butt or your leg, label it feeling and go back to the breath. At this point, we're at 10 minutes. If you feel like you can go longer, go up to 20. If that becomes really easy for you, go up to 30. If you can get to 30 minutes, that's typically around 10 minutes without thinking, without having your brain hijack your mind. If you can get to an hour, typically that's around 40 minutes. The more silence you have in the brain where you're just mitigating those thoughts and pushing them to the side, the calmer you're going to be, the more intuitive you're going to be, and the more just in tune you'll have that calm place in the midst of the storm every day of your life, where there's no anxiety, there's no depression, there's just calmness. So keep doing this practice every day, even if you just do 5 to 10 minutes, keep it up. You'll start to love it and you'll start to get better at it. Okay, my friends, until next time, namaste, peace, and love.